Hi there, I'm Larry Swadek and I'm the director of the InDev program at the University of Waterloo. And I'm sitting here with two of my students, Kevin Knapp
Hi.
and Yvonne Morales.
Hi.
And as you can see here, Yvonne is good friends with Fidel Castro. And we are discussing, just kicking around some ideas about fair trade coffee. We here at the University of Waterloo are active and engaged and interested in a better world, and some of us think that buying fair trade is the way to do it.
You know that the coffee business or that the coffee is a big issue,
Yeah.
in Latin American countries because it's a source of income.
Mm-hmm.
And doing my research and my assignment last semester, I just realized that yes, we can help those people to get a better life. Because what happened is, for instance, in Panama, I've been there, I have seen that reality. And what happened is, those children in Panama, this is the case in Panama.
Mm-hmm.
In Panama, it's like few people own the land.
Right.
And who works in the field harvesting the beans? The children, Aboriginal children in the case of Panama.
Yeah.
And it is heartbreaking because it's their life. All the time they have to go to the field and harvest the bean. That is their life, the simplest life that they have. So it's very heartbreaking for me because I am from Panama and I know that is the reality of Panama. So
Yeah. Like what's like the American influence on it too though? Because I know like they had like the whole green zone, right? Like the canal zone, and that was all like American kind of occupied.
yeah.
But I'm really kind of patchy on like my knowledge of Panama. But is it like did that help it at all, or is it just worse off now? Like I don't even know what the American presence is.
Okay, you have to go and see what is happening in Panama, or what happened in Panama in the past is that the Americans, they occupy just one area.
Right.
And that area is still now is beautiful.
Yeah,
you can see the bases, even the military
zone.
bases
Mm-hmm.
are still intact. And the rest of the country is, undeveloped areas.
Yeah.
So that's very bad. So the social problem in my country is a big issue.
Yeah. And like, so is coffee one of the? I'm assuming it's one of the biggest exports, or like one of your biggest crops.
No. Panama doesn't have it. It's very small business in Panama. Yeah. We don't produce anything. We import almost everything. So.
Okay.
But in the case of Costa Rica, what I realized is that people actually they have the opportunity to own the land. I went to the, Google some information about the Institute of Coffee in Costa Rica, and what I found out is that almost, like a 70% of the coffee growers, own 1 hectare of land. So what is happening in Costa Rica is that those growers, they have to sell the beans, the harvest, to the middleman.
Right.
So they don't earn almost anything.
Mm-hmm.
So even the school system is accommodated in order to allow the children to be free or be out of school during that period of time. So could you imagine that even the school system for those children who work in the field, in the coffee field, is accommodated to give them that opportunity to work with their family. So that's for me was amazing. Was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Costa Rica is a really good example of it. Were you just recently there, or?
I've been there because my father family lives near the last provinces, that boundary between Costa Rica and Panama.
In Panama, right?
Yeah, so it's.
And I mean, even then, I know exactly what you're talking about, that area. Even that contrasting to the north, I mean, I think the government's they're really taking the coffee and tourism is what Costa Rica is focusing on. Like they're really pushing tourism and ecotourism, and that's like one of their leading examples. But like they're doing that, like what you're talking about, which is even giving government land to people so they can own the land, and then they can harvest it. And it's almost kind of like they're moving from the north down, because the difference from like the north to the south is, well, it's really noticeable. So even in just in like the stuff that we've driven. So, but I almost feel that owning the land isn't enough though. Yeah. I mean, because what you said about like selling to the middleman, don't you have to like the cooperative system and like not in that whole series of things. So I don't know how Costa Rica deals with.
So Yvonne, how maybe you can talk about how you put that program together as part of your InDev group exercise, and why you think that the fair trade coffee is the model is actually useful for Panama. For Costa Rica.
For Costa Rica, I think it's very useful because I think it's possible. It's something that we really can do. It's to try to help them to organize themselves, because what happens is they don't have any idea how to do it. And we just realized that few people are, getting some help to organize themselves in such a way that they can open a cooperative, or they can open a group or association or something to try to sell their coffee, not to the middleman, but to, to get a better price for their harvest. So for me, when I was doing my research and working on the assignment, it was it really struck me. I don't know how to say because it was like I was doing my research and I was just thinking like we really can do this. Mm-hmm. It's something viable. It's something that we can work on that, and those people can have a better life. But it was just until I did my research. Before that I was like, okay, it's like those people don't have any hope to. But now I know that we can do something about that.
Mm-hmm.
So Kevin, is fair trade good?
I think it is. I think it's definitely a good thing. I mean, if you're talking about empowering people so they have the livelihood, they have the tools so that they can live a better life, and just the main way that they do it is just by cutting out the middleman and going back and owning the land, harvesting it themselves, and instead of selling to a middleman who then sells to like a depot, and then the depot that sells to the corporation, they don't get any of the money. And so, I mean, it's a proven model that it works, because that you're cutting out all of the stuff, they're getting the money back. But I feel like it's too small of a scale right now. Like University of Waterloo is a good example of like a leading institution that's promoting fair trade, because we have access to all the stuff here, except it's still almost treated as kind of like a boutique thing. Like all the coffee for the university, it's like Tim Hortons and Baden coffee, and Baden is like a small town like 30 minutes away, and that's not necessarily fair trade. So I think like the model of fair trade works great, but we need kind of the tools and like the motivation to make it large scale for it to be fully effective.